Greetings and welcome to Business Today on Channel I. Today also on this episode we want to educate you and also bring you more knowledge on the entrepreneurship, and also a segment that is very crucial to any entrepreneur, any organization or any class of companies, because training and development is something that is extremely crucial for the development and the towards going towards your goals as an organization. So today, for that specific reason, we have brought an extreme professional in this area, and this is Mr. Suranga Tennakoon. Who is a consultant in business and also a motivator, a trainer, and also a lecturer in multiple aspects when it comes to his life. And he's right here with me. And welcome on board. Great to have you on board.
Hi, Varuna. Hi, Varuna. Pleasure to meet you today.
Great. So great start. So we can speak about you first, because introducing yourself, I think, as a trainer and a motivator, it would be very important for their motivation.
Thank you, Varuna. First of all, thank you very much, ChannelEye, for inviting me for this program. Varuna, if you look at I myself, I'm a trainer, business consultant, and lecturer as well. I myself who conduct over 100 programs, the leading programs for a year, and I do speak over 10,600 for people all around the world, including Sri Lanka and other countries.
Right.
And I'm here today, so let's talk about how we can way forward to work about the Sri Lanka youth and entrepreneurship. I
think today on this program you'll be breaking that number of people, because you're speaking in the entire country.
Definitely, yes.
Great. So let's speak about the importance. Now, you said you've spoken to so many individuals. Have they always been corporates, or have they been different demographics?
Varun, it's like this. It's for the time being, I speak for the corporate sector as well as different countries, as I said, as well as one of my main segment which I like to speak with our youth in Sri Lanka and the worldwide. So this is one of the area I'm keen to speak with, and this is the area we need to look into, take forward of youth entrepreneurships. This is the area I would like to bring more attention with that.
Great. Okay, so jumping into the this topic that we have lined up for you today is the entrepreneurship when it comes to building the foundation of youth, how we can merge and plug in and see how that's going to work out in the future. So in terms of Sri Lanka's education system, as we have decided to speak about today, how do you propose this entrepreneurship can be plugged into the Sri Lanka's education system, and how is it doing it now?
Varuna, it's like this now. When you talk about education system, we talk about three segments. One is primary education, the other one is secondary education, the third one will be the higher education. So when you talk about primary education, Sri Lanka, so what my suggestion would be, we have to be implemented activity-based education system. Right now, I don't blame for anyone, but this is when you compare other countries, the leading countries like China, USA, UK, because if you look at the primary education, the students up to grade 5, they also like to learn something about entrepreneur. A good example is if you ask about Tesla, of a company for the students of grade 5, obviously they know about who is Elon Musk is. And if you ask about Jack Ma, so these small ladies and gentlemen, they have a better idea about who Jack Ma is. So what my suggestion would be, Varuna, we need to implement an active-based education system rather than we are looking into the books and but those should be there. But this is the time we need to show them how this entrepreneurship is important, and this is the time we need to bring to attention. But when you talk about a bit of the way forwards, and the next education level would be the secondary education, where grade 7 and 8. I mean, this is the real time we need to mindset, the export mindset needs to bring into attention of the entrepreneurs in Sri Lanka.
So you believe this is something that should be fed into the students? I mean, when the youngsters of the country.
Definitely. So this is the time we all have responsibility, the resource personalities and teachers and the other people. A good example is now I myself, I do conduct lots of CSR program for the government schools in Sri Lanka, Varuna. So when I go into the government school, most of the time keynote speaker can be a principal, can be a vice principal of the school. So they always encourage for in grade 7, 8, 9, I'm talking about this age. So they always encourage for them to be a doctor, be a the lawyer, be an engineer, right? My suggestion would be good, you know, doctor should be there, you know, the professional should be there. But other than that, you know, there are other professions also needs to be talked about. There's a percentage of Sri Lanka. I'm talking about secondary education, you know, at least my suggestion would be, you know, Ministry of Education, we all have responsibility to get the youth mindsets into different angle, because when you talk about the overall picture, Varuna, the entrepreneurship percentage is not even 2% right now. So everyone loves to work for someone else, but we need to break this mindset, right? So we tell for the people we don't have dollars, but we need to get the mindsets of the people mindsets to needs to be drives up to get the mindset of the export mindset. So to how do we do that? The strategy would be, if you look at, because I myself, I love to talk with the best practices where other countries are doing. Now Finland as a country, right? Finland as a country, they are one of the best country for the education. The Finland country now teachers, teacher who wants to teach for the students, but they should have to at least for a master level qualification. And there are no structures education in Finland, Varuna. So teachers are freedom to talk with anything about where they need to go about, but there should be different KPI. They have been fixed from the country itself. But these are the strategies, you know, these things, Varuna, we can be implemented in Sri Lanka as well, right? Activated by education. But I mean, if you look at grade 9, 10, 11, what we as a parents, what they are doing, we are pushing our children, okay, look at the book, so read in the book, right? So they don't have a time to spread their mindset and to get into the different angle. So we all have a responsibility to think something different where we need to, because at least the other suggestion would be now the school needs to be conducted. You know, there are lots of entrepreneurs. I think you have been interviewed a lot of entrepreneurs. They love to come for the schools and talk about how they have been come as a journey in the schools. Because why don't you take this? Because they don't charge anything, because because if you look at the big companies, they are allowed help for the youngsters, right? But they are assets, right? They are the people who brings the dollars for the country. So these structures, these needs to be implemented if you really want. This is the period we need to get the mindsets of how does entrepreneurship is important. So if you really can perform, if you really can show them a path, so we can increase the number. I'm pretty sure we can increase the number of 1.8%. We can go up to 2 to 2.5% in upcoming years, Varuna.
Okay, right. Also, now you mentioned about these ideas. I mean, students being young minds, they have ideas every single day. I mean, they could be having really successful entrepreneurial ideas as well. But there is a problem. I mean, I wouldn't say a problem, but like a major challenge that they would think about definitely is the funding and the, you know, how to get the capital that they need. How would you get them to address this issue?
It's a good, I mean, Varuna, that is a good point have been mentioned, because I like this point, because everyone can't be entrepreneur, because as you said, they don't have funding. So there should be a national policy must be implemented from government itself. Varuna, the other thing, government itself, they have a responsibility to implement, you know, for example, I myself, I have past experience. When I wanted to start my businesses, I visited a couple of banks. I don't blame it for banking sector, but when you went for a bank, so people, you know, what the banking, the manager or whoever who responsible, what is your salary? So how do you recover your loan, right? So that's I'm telling you, from the grade secondary education itself, we have to identify who are the potential people we need to keep them for entrepreneurships, Varuna. So if you can identify, the government have a responsibility, or else, you know, there should be a funding system from the government. National policy must become, so groom them into different angle. I'm not going to tell you everyone can be needs to start for a big businesses, but there are some strategies, because you know, right now digitalization is, it talks about the world. We are in the digital age, so we do not need to have funding for each and every the businesses, but we need to be open up. So we need to show them, we have to show them that, okay, these are the business strategies. So without the funding, you can start from this. Okay, you can join into this. These are the strategies. So you should have to fix a vision for that. So in order to that, we can develop. So these national policy where we can be implemented the national information system as per the region wise. For example, we are talking about 9 provinces in Sri Lanka, right? So everyone can't be like the students who are in Colombo, so they have a different culture, Varuna. But if if you go into area like Batiklo, so they have different culture. So as per the region wise, so we have to show them and we have to guide them. We have to direct them. We can open up a different kind of businesses where funding support has to be given for the government itself, not the big businesses, because they need to get an idea. They need to keep somewhere to start the businesses, right? So of course, if these children, the father and mother or entrepreneurs are fine, so they can engage with the other people, we have to give them support in somewhere, they can start up the good business. And the other thing, Varun, now, when you talk about the business, let's say Jack Ma, so who owns Alibaba? So my advice would be for the youngsters, so do not try to find the big investments and put into the businesses. Sometimes you will have this is the time, let's say the age of 18, 19, if I myself and you, I feel I myself the age of 19, I thought in a different way, but when I completed the age of 30, I'm a bit matured. Right? So Jack Ma always suggests, even I myself believe, the great age of 25, you must be studied. You should know what are the business strategies, right? I know there are big companies in Sri Lanka. So how do they groom their children for the businesses? They don't just hand over their business at once, Varuna.
Right.
So they just groom into certain
to qualified
for them, different departments, different areas, logistic operation. Then only slowly, slightly they hand over the designation, like the manager and executive, the manager, this is the strategy, because this is I like this strategy, right? So youngsters, my advice would be, you have because this is I'm talking about the secondary education. We just fix a mindset,
right?
But in order that we need to support them to complete the education, because if you know the businesses, you should know what is business strategy. You should have the knowledge. You have to know how would be materialize your skills into business. Right. The soft skills developments are very, very, very important. If you wanted to tap for exports market, Varuna, you should know your clients who are in the different countries, and you should know the language. If you look at, if you are in a country like Japan, you don't need to speak for English. But if you are in Sri Lanka, if you want to tap for a different clients in different countries, of course, you should know to learn about English. So these, you identify your weaknesses, identify your strengths, in order that you need to be drives up, you need to help for that, and you can get your business into certain level. And when you talk about the age level, my suggestion would be 25. You should have to have complete your bachelor's degree at least to know about your businesses. If you want to become entrepreneur, know about your strategies. But age of 25 itself, you have to work in a good company and a good boss.
Right.
That could be the strategy, Varuna.
Okay.
Because this is the time you need to, because when you complete the age of 30, while you are working in the company, right? So without disturbing the company, you can slightly think about a startup business.
Okay.
So 30 to 40 is a great idea where youngsters will think about to open up a business. So this time you can jump into different areas. If you are good at IT, open up a business belongs to IT. If you are good at other platform, open up a business. But when you complete the age of 40, so do whatever good at. This is not a time to do experiments. But if you are good at IT industry, do a businesses by IT industry. Otherwise, you will have failure.
You need to identify your talents and then go along those lines.
Definitely, okay. Yes.
So this is mentorship that you are doing. Now there are, see the audience that's watching this program right now is definitely getting a lot of knowledge because you are mentoring them on TV. But for those who wants to be a mentor in the future, like if someone's too young to understand what we are saying right now, maybe in the future if they end up wanting to be entrepreneur and they want to be mentored by someone, what are the options available?
This is what we as a country, it's lacking right now, because there should be a proper mentoring system. As I was suggested earlier as well, there are plenty of entrepreneurs who has come from the grassroots level, Varuna. Like if you talk about Otara Gunawardana,
yes.
She has started her businesses in the small scale, right? So but she's still passionate what she's doing, right? So not the money, it's a passion.
You create the cycle.
Definitely, cycle. Yes. You should know the business cycle, right? So as I said, we have groomed now mentoring. Of course, and the other negative factor have been identified, Varuna. Now most of the institutes they provide the mentoring on entrepreneurship, but these mentors they are not entrepreneurs, Varuna. You understand? So if if you bring a mentor to talk about entrepreneurship, he should be entrepreneur. He should be a model to show you a student. Okay, I have come in grassroots level. Today I am in this is the level. These are the businesses I am having. This is my vision. I am going to drive into next level. So we have to. So then only, because otherwise we blame our youth. Okay, they don't listen to what you have said. No, because they like to see you activities what have been done. Right, you should be example for the youth.
Yes.
Right, so this is very, very important. So my question will be mentoring, because as I said, there are freelance, people who are allowed to help for this country. Right, if you look at I myself, I do provide Varuna over, whenever government school requires for me to talk about, come and talk about entrepreneurships or mentoring or leaderships, I prefer to come without any charge, because government school I don't charge at all. So likewise, I know there are lots of entrepreneurs, they love to come as a mentors to talk about their journey, the strategy, their difficulties, their challenges, and their future. They love to talk about, Varuna. So why can't we take them at least for a guest lecture? As I said, this secondary education, grade 8, 9, we are pushing them for because everyone not be passed from the O levels, no, Varuna, because we need to get them from the mentoring from this time itself. And some students, grade of 10, 11, after completion their O levels, they failed it. Okay, they don't know what to do. Right, they don't know what to do. These people, we have to gather them, we have to speak them. And another important factor is in Sri Lanka, what we're lacking, Varuna, the data. Okay. Right, data is an issue right now. Okay, right. If you and me want to find out, okay, go into the internet and find how many entrepreneurs for success, who are the entrepreneurs are on board right now. Okay, what are the right businesses available? What are the industries having and barriers with the exports markets? Right. I mean, if you can. My suggestion would be, if governments can fix one platform, because now we are in the digital, now the youth doesn't like to go into one offices, and they don't like to ask, okay, how we can start the business. Okay, no, this is not the way. You have to go to another office. No, because you have to put everything into one website. Yes. Okay, get into these data. So these youngsters they are allowed to see those. Okay, now I know this business has let's say now exports, vehicle exports industry. Now you all know that there's an issue for the right now. We don't bring the vehicles in the country. So this is not right time to start for exports businesses. Yes, no, Varuna. Right. The other example is now, next example would be now, soon as Corona got affected, what our people did, I know there are a few entrepreneurs, I have been consulted them after the business area. So they brought the machines of making the face masks, right? Ultimately, what happened for face mask industry? Right now, none of the few people use it. Now these people who are invested very, very recently, one of the investor, one of the big company who has been invested lot, the millions and billions for brought the face mask machine for the Sri Lanka. So
let me ask you, why would something like that happen? Is it because short-sightedness?
Yes, yes. Yeah. Because people are looking at different angles. Because our people, that's what I told you, data, that's why I told you, Varuna, data is mandatory. Our people, now if they're looking into that today, there's a demand for, let's say, milk powder. So our people are buying the milk powder. Good example is now, during the past years, we had a, economic crisis in the country. How many of them are cycling from the country? Right? You can see. Have you seen any people are cycling right now? I'm sure you also came with the vehicle today, right? So, right. So all because of the trends, right? Yeah. So our people are following the trends. Again, we drop the trends, right? I mean, we should understand, so what is the needs of the country? So needs and wants must be understood, Varuna. Long as we understand the needs, so you have a better strategy. That's why we need to understand. Because that's what I'm telling you, the policymakers, not even the government, private sector, we as a mentors, we as a people, we as a leaders, we as a teachers, we all need to show them, okay, these are the business strategies. You need to think in long term, not the short term, short run strategies, because we talk about red ocean and blue ocean businesses, Varuna. Red ocean businesses, you can start for a short time, you earn the profits, you closed it, right? But if you talk about blue ocean businesses, blue ocean have long strategies, right? Look at the company like Tesla. Okay, good example is Mark Zuckerberg. Facebook doesn't makes a profit right now. Okay, like still Zuckerberg is thinking something different, right? So he will implement the metaverse right now, right? So metaverse is a platform, you can do the virtual, you can do the businesses, right? So what I want to tell you, the people needs to, because we have to, as you said, it's a good question you brought up. So we have to mentor them, we have to show them that, okay, long-term businesses, if you have got long-term businesses, So these are the strategies you should show them. Okay, our people put in the money. Ultimately, they talk about, you know, other example is Varuna. Now, if I'm going to link into your question, what we asked very recently. So I went to the Dali Road, one of the spare parts shop. Okay. So spare parts shop. So I stopped my vehicle. So this entrepreneur, because I myself, I do lots of consultation for SME sector in Sri Lanka. Okay, now because I went to buy something into my car, so I stopped it. This entrepreneur was talking about, okay, then he has identified now I'm something because I'm trying to help him out with the business. I was asking now, how does your business goes? You know, usually that is my pattern. So whenever I go to any region, I talk about, because myself get to know, I also learning every day, right? So this entrepreneur, what he said, I was asking, do you get salary? No, so why should I get the salary? Because this is my own business. But then I was asking, okay, with whom you are running this business? Okay, I'm running with my mother. Okay, now does your mother get the salary? Then he said no. Okay, sir, can you tell me, do you needs to get a salary? I said yes, because this is your business. Now I was asking, how do you spend your money for day-to-day expenses? But he said no. Day-to-day expenses. But he said no, sir. Whenever we used to have money, we open up a drawer and take the money. So I said, this is not the right strategy. So tell me, how can I run this? Then I told him, you can fix a salary. Okay. Then I was asking, okay, how do you get the money into suppliers? Then sir, I will write into check and provide it, right? So one example. Then I was asking, what you think, how many, and how do you find out, is there any item missing in your shop? Right, spare part shop. No, sir. When customer comes and asks, if customer asking for some things, if this not there only, I will try to implement. Now I was asking, how many customers you lose per day? He said at least 1 or 2 customers, they will come into the product, and they'll go into that. So then only we identify. So I told him, okay, if you lose 2 customers per day, 2 into 30, you lose 60 potential customers, right? That's why I told, not even youth. If you wanted to give them mentoring for a youth, so we don't need to select this kind of people, right? We have to select the person who follows the right strategy of the businesses, Varuna, right? So that is that could be my, you know, yes.
That's great.
Live life to your heart's content with savings that bring joy to life. HNB.
நான் எனக்கென இல்லாமல் நாம் எம்மால் எமக்கு ஏனும் தொற்று நோய்கள் பற்றி சிந்திப்போம். நாம் ஒருமித்த பலத்துடன் ஒன்றாய் இணைவோம். டெங்கு அதனை பறந்தே வந்திட இடம் கொடுக்காமல் இருந்திடுவோம். சரியான முறையில் நாளாந்தம் நாம் அனைவரும் டெங்கு ஒழிப்புக்காகவே. சுகாதார அமைச்சின் தகவல்.
Live life to your heart's content with savings that bring joy to life. HNB.
That's exactly what we discussed so far. Would be start with the data. The government has to help them, and also the banks has to be more open for the entrepreneurs who wants to be become an entrepreneur. Start young, and also make sure that you think ahead in the future about the future's requirement and supply for the demand. That's what you have to do.
Yes,
Okay.
Absolutely correct.
Great. So now another aspect of starting a business or like becoming an entrepreneur would be the legal aspects. Now, as a younger crowd or like a young person who might want to get into this might not have any clue about this because they haven't had experiences or exposure. What kind of help or assistance do you think they can receive from the society?
In terms of legislation, Varuna, this is very important because there are, when you start the business, now some of them are running at a business without open the BR or business registration. So this is, some of them are things that this is very difficult thing to open up a business, and some of them have mindset that when you open up a business, when you deal with the bank, so government will be getting the taxes from us. You know, there's a bad impression has comes into the businessmen, the entrepreneurs, especially SME sector, the mindset. So we have to show them there should be a legalization system. Especially we need to talk about the benefits, Varuna. So I mean, we always encourage, I mean, all of us, including the media in Sri Lanka, okay, you are there to open up a business registration, but in terms of legislation or legal factor, so we have to show them that when you open up a business registration, these are the benefits you get. Okay. Right. Rather than you're talking about the negative factor, right? These are the benefits. I myself, I know. So having a business registration, one thing you deal with the bank. So you will be benefited from the bank whenever you want to have a loan. So whenever you fly into any countries, whenever if you want to send your children into different countries, having a business registration, so it's an advantage. You can show them that you are having a business. The lots of people, because since you not legalized properly, so ultimately what happened, so he blames the people. Okay, I'm having a business, but business doesn't help me for any reasons, but there is no justifications can be provided. So legalization would be very, very important. So especially Varuna, when you talk about labor law, right? So having the labors, why do you important to put your EPF, ETF for the people? So you should know that, right? Having a HR manager, so what is their responsibility, right? When you talk about the small and medium enterprises, SME sector, so what they do is now they don't they're having a lot of afraid of the legalized system, especially when you open up a businesses, right? So I think we all have a responsibility. The business business registration, people who encourage for the businesses, right? SME sector, Varuna, it helps a lot for the country economy, right? This is the sector we need to show them, right? And sometimes you don't have you don't have registration of the business, but you are asking the loan from the bank. That will not work. No. So bank also have to justification. Bank also have a responsibility to show you the managers, the top management having this business as is running good. So we have to give them a loan. So my system, again, we talk about training and development. There should be a better strategy, right? As I said, one platform must be implemented. As I was talking earlier, one platform needs to be implemented where, okay, you can select your businesses, you can see the potential of the business. In the same time, if you can open up, so how would be able to legalization, right? How do you manage your HR system? How do you manage your, if there are any fines comes, how do you manage? And how do you register your vehicle under company name, right? Basic thing, Varun, right? We don't need to talk about big things. But when you have those strategies, everything in one platform where SME sector will be encouraged. So they have a potential. But because my suggestion, my idea would be, now we need to bring those in attention, right? So we don't bring this. What are the positive mindset when you follow the right legalized system? Right, so those are the mindset we need to bring to attention. So if you can both everything together, of course, our entrepreneurs and SME sector, without having how many businesses in Sri Lanka, they run the business without having the business registration, Varuna. So we have to put them on board. And I know if you really can look in news, there are some businesses, they earn lots of cash transactions, right? But still they don't bank them. So so we need to get everything. We have to talk about the positive factor. We have to show them the positive factor. So if you can show them right legalized system, having advantage, okay, having a business registration, what are the advantage? Having putting the EPF, ETF for employees, those are the benefits. If you can show them a benefits, so everyone will be, most of them are encouraged to have a getting into proper track in legalized system, Varuna.
Okay, so when it comes to doing business legally, it's not always just the monetary benefits. There are also multiple other benefits as well. Correct. Like the way you just described. Okay, another factor when it comes to being a youth entrepreneur in Sri Lanka is the innovativeness. I think it's vital that you innovate in your business, otherwise you will always fall back and fall behind. This aspect of it, how do you like to address it?
Yeah, innovation is very, very important. A good example is I myself, when you talk about few businesses in Sri Lanka, like let's say now local group of company, so which was opened by 1945, if I'm not mistakenly, by Mr. Dharmadasa, right? They are startup with the small scale businesses, right? So now innovation, they have started, the father has started the small scale business when sons, his son, I think his son is a managing director of a company right now. So he managed it a different way, right? Okay. So innovation, it talks about lots of things, right? How do you link it to a digital platform, right? Now I remember when hybrid cars comes on board, Varuna, now how many people blames it to hybrid cars? Now the world talks about, where the sustainability, we talk about SDG, there are 17 sustainable goals where United Nations has been implemented. We talk about sustainability. Now when electric cars comes on to the markets, how many them talk about negative effect of the electric cars, right? So likewise, innovation also like this, right? The people, especially youngsters, they love to take the innovation, right? Some, ordinary people, they always tell, innovation would be not work because we need to follow the right strategy, And remember, Varuna, now a good example is I can bring you a very good example of what happened for Kodak. I think I don't know whether you have got the photograph for your Kodak film roll, right? So you have taken, okay. So 1996, Kodak is a company, so they were super profit. Right, super profit. Okay, when you talk about innovation, I'll tell you how we can link it up youth entrepreneurships. Okay, 1990 super profits. Okay, 2012 company got bankrupted. Right, so CEO, he was crying on the media conference, Varuna, and most of the people they have advised. And during when innovation come, when smartphones come on board, then people said, okay, you as a Kodak, you have to do something, otherwise you will fail one day. So they said no, because they made a brand of filming it, photography with Kodak. Okay, photography with Kodak. They have taken a brand of film because the people were hunger to get the Kodak film roll, right? So what happened for the company? They were not innovative. They were not new. They have not followed the strategy. They have not moved into the new world basically, right? Ultimately 2012, they have lots of they have lots of outlets around the world. There are lots of people lose their jobs, right? So ultimately the company was bankrupt. But in your life, Varuna, the innovation, there is there's a chart which needs to be followed, okay, which is called product life cycle. Okay, yes. Product life cycle is very, very, that includes it. You have a growth, and you have you have introductions, beg me pardon. So we have introduction, you have growth, and you have maturity, and you have a decline, right? So when you introduction period, it's fine. You will, this is the area youth needs to be think something. Introduction level, you are you are working with the businesses. But when growth level started, where company gets startup to get the profits. So if you think that this is not a this is not a time, so this is enough for us. Okay, as I said, good example is Tesla. The Mark Zuckerberg, the Meta. Look and see how many people are doing the innovation things, right? So in the growth level, definitely you have to do something. You have to put in a new product in the market. You have to think something different. You have to think in an innovative way, Varuna. If you don't innovative in your entrepreneurships, what will happen, right? So what will happen? You will end up in decline, Varuna. Right? Good example is, as I said, not even there are multiple examples I can bring it into the attention, right? So we need to pay an attention, right? So good example another would be look at the Lasana Flora. Lasana Flora is a company, so Dr. Lasantha is a profession, is a doctor, right? Profession is a doctor. Initially he has identified there's a market of deliver the flower for the hotels, and there are no proper supplies. Today Lasana Flora is what, okay, he deliver the flowers. They have a Lasana events, right? So there are plenty of multiple businesses, subsidiaries they have been created, right? So another example would be Dilma is a product, right? Dilma is one of the products. So they have they do export the tea products to different countries. Over 100 countries they do delivers, right? That has been implemented by Mr. Merrill J. Fernando. So Mr. Merrill J. Fernando once he implemented, they were not innovative, but they are their next generation, so they think in an innovative way. So my advice would be for the SME sector also. Today you are profits, you get the super profits, I would say. But if you do not innovate, if you do not apply the technology into your business module, so you will have a high failure rate of your business. Another example would be, Varuna, now Elon Musk has implemented ChatGPT is a platform, right? So we talk about now earlier what happened. So anyone wants to write the business report, you have to search it, you have to go into Google, find the stats, you have to write it by. Right now you go to the online platform, and if you give them a command, okay, write me a report of business or business strategy, help me this information. So AI, it talks about. Okay, so technology talks a lot. Right, because as I said, Elon Musk has a Tesla, so he always thinks about something different. They always implement the new product in the market, and Amazon as a product, we are owned by Jeff Bezos. Because I am trying to get this, a global example where our SME sector or other business people who are doing the businesses is very, very important. Amazon is a product. So Jeff is a gentleman. Why I personally read his books, Varuna. Now, so during the Corona period, what we all did, we have, because as per the government, and we have anyhow, because we have not faced this kind of pandemic, we have closed the country. But Jeff is a gentleman. He has been instructed his team. This is a time we open up your mindset. This is the time we need to, if your team can work out properly, this is the time we can earn super profits for the company. Right, so this is important. So what happened, Jeff has been done, so he has developed, right, remember we all face the delivery issues, but yes. Jeff as a gentleman, he has implemented getting the robot technology. He has implemented strategy, all team needs to be worked out, and they have instructed team, if you get Amazon delivery, we have to deliver it. If you promise to deliver in 5 days, we have to deliver it in 4 days, right? So ultimately what happened, company made with super profit. So Varun, we all have a responsibility. It should be innovative. Innovation talks about matters. You should be updated. Now look at YouTube. Now everyone can go at your home, get in a small. Now there will be huge issue, huge payment needs to be paid to get and activate videos, right? YouTube videos. So looking into 1 or 2 video, how many good videos are in the platform? Right, so go into those, learn about. There are multiple languages. If you don't like to learn in English, the singular channels are there. If you don't like to learn in, and so we have to identify those. So innovation, it talks about a lot. If you do not innovate, as I said, like the product life cycle, you will end up with decline of your business.
Okay, so this is why as a company or any organization or even as an individual, research and development is essential. You have to always look out and see where the demand comes from and what kind of solutions you can provide for the existing problems, as I believe. Is that correct?
Correct, yes, okay. Absolutely.
Great. So moving on, we can also speak about, now coming back to Sri Lanka. I know you gave all these global examples for them to understand because they are well known, but coming back to Sri Lanka, once again about the education system and about the institutes in Sri Lanka and also about the education providers in Sri Lanka, what kind of input can they provide to the youth so that they can leverage technology for their entrepreneurship in the future?
Varuna, now again I had to go for a global, to come into Sri Lanka. So we talk about 7 billion people around the world. So out of 7 billion people, 30 billion people, 30 billion devices uses around the world. At least when you calculate, at least one person has 5-6 devices, right? So it gives a clear idea. So we don't like to provide the devices of our children, right? So even I myself, I don't like to give my now we have been identified, but when my sons are child, I don't like to give my device. But so anyhow they takes a device and they love to learn something, right? So what I want to tell you now, in this generation, they like the technology, Varuna. Right, so rather than we understand, we have to give them a printed book, right? It's fine, right? So, but when you, I read couple of researchers what have been done now. Youth, what they like is they love to do something for devices. So as you said, so the mentors and we as a teachers, we have we as a parents, we as a policymakers. So as I said, when my suggestion would be when students come to secondary level education grade 8, 9, 10, 11, so we have to implement a strategy where your education link with technology, Varuna. If you can implement the school with the internet, but you should have to put them the barriers, you have to monitor them what they are doing that. You can fix the KPI as well, right? Which is key performance indicators. You can allocate some targets. Okay, today we'll give you these devices for these 5 groups, right? So what are the things you need to be searched about? What are the reports needs to be delivered? So what are the results you brings into the audience, right? I mean, if you can brings those into mindset so the people, obviously, you know that, because whether you like it or not, we have to move with the technology, Varuna, right? So we are in the generation where they like the technology, right? So we are a bit behind. Now world talk about sustainability, right? If you really can, again, if you go to global, when you talk about if you can look into just, I mean, I advise for the audience, just look into the video of the 2030 plan of Singapore. Right? How does the education system link with technological education? So everyone would be, you know, would be worked in a perfect way. So what my suggestion would be, so technology has to be linked with the education system. So long as technology can link, you can get the results, but there should be proper strategy to monitor the youth, and you can ask for the results as well. You can get the implementation, you can get the best product where entrepreneurship mindset needs to be implemented and increase the number of 1.8% up to 3 to 4% in future, Varuna.
Great. I think when you speak about technology, I think adding something to what you delivered is that we have now, apart from the devices, we have this AI coming in, and then also you can't really track, because when you can get it to do your homework, things like that also is existing right now.
Yes, that is adding into what you said, Varuna. Now there's another important, AI is something, but you know, now Elon Musk is because I'm studying these days since I mentoring for the people. Now Elon Musk is trying to implement the neuro chip right now, right?
In your brain.
In your brain. Look at AI is there. If neuro chips come, what are you going to do? You can read the other brains, Varuna.
Exactly.
Right? So what could be the future, right? We have to adapt into that. So we have to put the strategy. We'll see how does it work and work with technology.
Right. Okay. So it's all for the future, and also for the future generations. Those who are looking for resources. If there's if there are professions from education institute or from schools or from any other organization, we have a great resource for you to take, I would say, tap into. Great. Okay, so thank you, Suranga, for coming in today, and I think we had a great discussion on how the youth can be influenced when it comes to entrepreneurship and also innovation, and also thinking out of the box, mainly on today's program. Thank you so much for joining in today.
Thank you, Varuna. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, ChannelEye.
Right, so with that discussion, we are going to close today's program, and you joined with Business Today. We'll see you in the next episode.